Good evening, Titan Nation. How's everybody?
What's up, everybody? What's up, Titan Nation? Welcome in to a TNT POSTGAME. I'm your host, Blue Enforcer, aka The Truth. And as you can see on the graphic, let me know what y'all think of the graphic in the comments section. The Tennessee Titans pull a massive upset, one that I did not see coming. The Titans go down to Houston and defeat the Texans 32-27 to improve to 3-8 on the year, and a pretty good game and a very crazy game by Will Levis and the gang. Let me know what y'all think of this graphic. I'm again trying some new different things. I think this graphic looks really, really good. I may continue with this one going forward as long as my pictures are right, because sometimes you got to have the picture in the right position for it to even work. But I think this graphic looks good. Let me know what y'all think in the comments section. Welcome into the show. And again, I am Blue Enforcer, aka The Truth. Definitely make sure y'all follow this show, whether it be on Facebook, X, or Instagram. Definitely going to be making sure that everybody knows about this. Y'all make sure y'all share this show out to everybody. And also, definitely as you come on in, make sure you give a like to the show. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the show by hitting that subscribe button and click that bell with all, so that way you know when I go live, you'll get all the content there, so that way you know what's going on. And of course, I'm going to be updating everything on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, and Google Podcast as well. So definitely stay tuned for that also. I'm getting better with that, but I know I've been a little bit behind, so forgive me, but, we're only human. So we'll definitely do everything we can to make sure everything is updated right. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And make sure y'all leave comments in the chat. Let me know what y'all thinking of the show, and give me your thoughts on this game. But let's go ahead and talk about it, because I know as a lot of you are coming on in, the massive upset that happened. I was not expecting it. I did not think the Titans were going to win this game, but they found a way. I have to admit, I am impressed. The Tennessee Titans go into Houston and beat the Texans 32-27 in Houston on the road to win their first division game of the season. Now, this is their second division game overall, but they end up winning one, and it was a very good outing for Will Levis and others, and we're definitely going to talk about that and everything. But, I mean, the Tennessee Titans were extremely resilient in this game. When things were starting to get out of whack, they really could have just given up. Like, for the majority of the game, they were right there in it. Chipped away at the Texans, took the lead early, 10-7, and then went into the half. They were up 20-17, and went up 23-17. But things was looking like it was going pretty decent. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the so now, and then we talk about the aforementioned pick six. Excuse my mic there. And all of a sudden you're thinking, oh God, this game is about to turn on its head again. The Titans are about to lose it, because that's usually what would tend to happen to them. But the Titans find a way. They find a way to resist, and they find a way to overcome that. And they overcome a lot of different things to find a way to win this game. And then, of course, just a terrible missed field goal by Kai Fairbairn, which I'm thinking is automatic. We're about to go to overtime, tied at 30. And Kai Fairbairn misses, a literal chip shot field goal that gives the Titans the win. A lot of anything that could have happened in this game did happen in this game. And we're definitely going to talk a lot about that coming up in just a moment. But the Titans get the victory, 3-8, and then the Texans drop to 7-5. They're still in the lead in the division. The Tennessee Titans outgained them 369 to 260 in this game. They had 19 first downs to their 12, even though in the second half it got a little dicey for them. Penalties. Only had 6 penalties for 35 yards. Texas had 11 for 80. Titans controlled time of possession. But at one point, the Titans had the turnover lead, but then they, almost threw that away late in the game. So the Titans still have a lot to figure out. They have a lot to figure out. They still have a lot to fix. But getting this win, I'm actually not mad about it. Normally, I know I've always been the type to say losing is winning. And, even though I did not want us to win this game, in a very small way, it's kind of nice to stick it to the Houston Texan fans, especially those that have talked crap about us for years, they always want to fight this claim that we're the Houston T, the Oiler history should be ours, even though the Texans have absolutely nothing to do with that history. None at all. And so sticking it to those Texan fans, it felt really good. It did. It felt so good to stick it to them. And so with that happening, yes, the Titans do move down in the draft order. Not as far as I thought they were going to move down, but they only moved down to 6 in the draft order, and we could really mess things up for the Jags if we lose to them. So moving up, we still got some things we could do to move up. There's some work that still needs to be done. And so we could definitely find a way to move up there in the draft order. So, yeah, I know there's a lot of people thinking now, oh, yeah, we got our franchise quarterback in Will Levis. He's the guy. He's the guy. I was, in a little discussion with one of the faithful, my guy, Preston Round. Shout out to Preston, my boy. I just told him we could agree to disagree. He's thinking, like many of you, oh, yeah, Will Levis, he's our guy. He's our quarterback. And, Chris Frazier, the wit, and, you done went ahead and turned back around. Now, at first you were with him. Now, at first you were with him. Now you weren't. Now you're back with him. All of a sudden. He was your real 8. Then he was not your real 8. Now he's your real 8 again. I'm a bit confused. I'm still not convinced. I am still not convinced that Will Levis is the guy. But this victory, even though it is nice, it could ultimately, in the end, have cost us Shedeur Sanders and or Cam Ward. It could have cost us one of those two quarterbacks. Because after those two, there is a seismic drop-off in quarterback play after those two. And really with Travis Hunter a wide receiver, there's a massive drop-off after him. There's a pretty decent drop-off. Ted McMillan might be nice. Luther Burden of Missouri is kind of falling off a little bit. So really after those first few guys at the top, it kind of drops off. So winning this game didn't exactly do us a lot of favors. But, again, beating Houston is pretty nice indeed. I can be okay with that. And so let's get into the good, the bad, and the god-awful from this game. And there was a lot that really went down in this game that was very, very interesting to me. So let's start with the good. And, the good is definitely we do have to start with some good things from Will Levis. 18 of 24, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 1 interception, had a quarterback rating, had a passer rating of 123.3. And then early in the first half, he was on target. Like, I believe in the first half, he was like 11 for, I think it was like 11 of 12 to begin the game, if I'm not mistaken. But he was in a zone early on. And it started off very well. And then, he really took control early in this game and was very efficient. And was hitting dimes. And, him and Calvin Ridley, they're continuing to connect and really starting to click. Ridley, again, another nice game. 5 catches, 93 yards for him. Chig get into the act. His only catch, a 70-yard touchdown catch. Got Boyd involved. NWI, all reliable, as Tom Jackson would say on ESPN. Basically, NWI, all he does, catch touchdowns. That's all he does. And then Tony Pollard had another good day on the ground. 24 carries, 119 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he has over 800 yards rushing on the year. He will probably reach 1,000 before the end of the year. So I think that's very good. And then, of course, defensively, definitely liked what I saw. T'Vondre Sweat had a really good game. Him and Big Jeff, they really had the middle of that offensive line in shambles. Did some real good work there. And then Kenneth Murray had a very nice interception. Should have had a second interception. But, he definitely picked up one. And Jarvis Brownlee just continues to get better and better and better. And, he's aggressive. He has his aggressive nature and everything. But I would rather you be aggressive than not. So I would definitely take that. But I think those are definitely some of the good things that definitely happened in this game. The bad that happened. I'm going to start with, again, not a lot of pass rush. No pass rush from Harold Landry or Arden Key. Like, this is really getting bad that these guys are not getting home at all. Now, some of that is, I would have to give credit to C.J. Stroud because he was eluding pressure very, very well. He knew when to throw it away. He knew when to step up and, get rid of the ball, to step up and run. He was able to elude sacks very, very well, which is something that Will Levis is not very good at. At least right now, he's not. And he's got to find a way to get better with that, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Something else bad. Well, I would say I forgot. Good turnovers. We got 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions, so we definitely did that. Bad, I would say. No, I'm going to save that for the awful. I was going to mention J.C. Latham, but that's going to be for the awful when it comes to that. I'm trying to think of anything that was seriously bad before I go to awful. Besides the pass rush, Amani Hooker went out with an illness early in the game, did not return. I know Daryl Worley and Mike Brown had to kind of sub in for him, and I think they did a pretty admirable job. But bad was just him going down. And we had our moments where we just thought, Houston's going to get back in the game and they're going to take this one away. But they were not able to. Bad would be Kai Fairbairn missing that chip shot because he just hit the record. I believe he had 13 field goals made this year from beyond 50. And then he misses a chip shot 28-yarder which would have tied the game at 30 with around, I want to say about 2 minutes to go, and that would have took us into overtime. And, just missing that chip shot was just awful. Was just bad. And Ryan Stonehouse didn't have a great game either. Ryan Stonehouse struggled with kicking the ball at times. He had a couple that shanked. Only averaged about 47 yards a punt, which is definitely below his average. Now to the god awful. And the main part, well, there's two parts to this, is the sacks. One is the sacks. And I can't put all of them on the offensive line. Some of them I can. First off, J.C. Latham had his worst game as a Tennessee Titan. This was by far his worst game, and I think it'll be more of a one-off. I don't think he'll have a repeat performance like this. But credit to the Houston Texans pass rushers because they got some good ones. They got a full rotation of guys. You got Danielle Hunter. You got Derek Barnett. You got Will Anderson. You got Danico Autry. All those guys can rush the passer. And they did that very well to the tune of 8 sacks. J.C. Latham got beat on like 2 sacks. I think NPF got beat on 1 or 2 sacks himself. Definitely there were some issues up the middle a little bit, but the offensive line definitely struggled against this very good Texan pass rush. But not all the sacks were on the offensive line. There was at least 3 to 4 sacks that were on Will Levis himself. Because, again, he has had issues eluding the pocket. And there are times where, again, like, for example, I believe there was one play where NPF, had him coming outside. And then right when Will Anderson finds a way to come back inside, Will Levis is stepping up, and he steps up right into Will Anderson's arms, right into the sack. And instead of going back outside, eluding that, and, give yourself a chance to extend the play, he drops back. Right when he steps up, Anderson comes up right into his arms for the sack. And that's happened quite a few times in this game, and it's happened in the last 3 games. He's been sacked 20 times in the last 3 games. And you could tell he got a little bit timid after throwing the pick 6, which was a bad pick 6, by the way. But once he threw that away, it's like he was a bit timid. He was afraid of making another mistake. And Austin and Zach talked about it on their show yesterday on A to Z Sports. The problem with Will Levis, and, I believe it was something that he said, maybe in a tweet or something like that, he worries too much about what other people think. That is not a good trait to have. You cannot worry about what everybody else thinks. Because you know what you're doing, you're letting those thoughts get into your mind, and basically you are in your own head. Instead of focusing on the game and just be like, you know what, put that interception, throw that away, and just keep going, you let it linger. And then you're worried about what somebody going to say about that. You're worried about what somebody going to say about your performance and the Mayo commercials and all of that. That doesn't help, and that's not a very good trait to have. So he's going to have to know how to get out of his own head and focus on playing football and not worry about what other people are thinking of him. Because if he worries about that, it's a recipe for disaster. Very much so. But again, offensive line, especially right tackle, is a major weakness. And it was really bad. Also, special teams. again reared its ugly head. Ryan Stonehouse didn't have a good day. Jaquan Jackson fumbles a punt. And then you give up an 80-yard kickoff return to begin the game, which led to their first touchdown. I don't know why Cole Anderson is not fired. I don't know, but something has got to change. The special teams has been terrible all year long. And there is no question about that. And, that was something that Brian Callahan just will not talk about. He's just going to keep going and go on into the next week. Although it is something that you're going to have to speak on. Because, again, you have these mistakes happening each and every week. And it seems like there's no end in sight, no solution. And I fought that on Brian Callahan for not addressing it sooner and not firing Cole Anderson. Because, again, don't fall into the trap like Vrabel and Malarkey, who were so loyal to their coaches, they were willing to fall on the sword for them. That's what happened. Mike Malarkey was willing to fall on the sword for Terry Robisky. That's how he got fired. Mike Vrabel was willing to fall on the sword for Tim Kelly and Todd Downing. That's how he got canned. So Brian Callahan is going to have to understand his coaches need to be held to just as high of a standard as his players. But also another good, I forgot to mention this, is to Amy Adams Strunk. She seemed very, emotional, and the Titans dedicated, of course, this victory to her. I know it's always sweet for the Adams family to beat the Texans in Houston. Kind of a stick it to the city of Houston and to those fans because of what happened and how they got basically ran out of town. So that was one more good. But yeah, I mean, this is a good win. Didn't want the win, but hey, against a division rival, this one is good. And I'm definitely with that. But coming up this week, probably not going to be doing a show tomorrow because I do have to work both of my jobs. And, of course, Thanksgiving is coming up. Definitely going to try to get in a very quick preview, a very small preview, maybe before Saturday, as we do get ready to take on the Washington Commanders. I should be live from the headquarters for that game. If not, I'll be right here for it, definitely. So stay tuned for that. Definitely make sure y'all leave comments on what y'all thought of the show and of the game. Let me know what you think. And remember to make sure, again, to like and smash that subscribe button as well. And if nothing else, we are so thankful for a lot of different things. And I'm thankful for all of you. I'm thankful for this podcast, for this platform, for all of y'all that I have met or talked to about the Tennessee Titans, whether good or bad. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to the business for putting up with me as well. And I thank everybody for tuning in to TNT Postgame. I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Definitely be thankful. Enjoy your family, and enjoy some good football tomorrow. I will be doing that as well. And I thank y'all for tuning in. And y'all have a very good rest of your night and tighten up because that's all we know how to do. Good night, y'all.